My coach is a 30-year-old female. She's an executive in one of the corporate companies we work with. I had the opportunity to start working with her about 3 months before I took the profile. And the way that we've met is she came to me with a question. She wanted me to help her with self-development. And our sessions first started with her experience of being an executive, being very young in the executive team. She moved from home 7 years back with the idea of developing a career, and she's been very successful. She's known in the company as a high flyer, and when she came to me, she was managing a team of about 30 employees with a lot of stress within the IT environment that she worked, and this IT environment produced a lot of relationship issues that in many cases she felt that she wasn't handling very well. So her issue with me, well, not an issue, her help was that she wanted to improve herself as manager, her people skills, and our first few coaching sessions was more around that. And when the profiling came through, it was a wonderful coaching conversation where we went through her profile. And if I can take us through the profile, first on page 5 on her outer world, when I explained to her boss and the potential that she has, you could see it was all very natural. First, you know, she's a very skilled person, and she could see, she was happy to see in her intrinsic empathy section that she has got a lot of potential, because sometimes I think she started to doubt that because of the feedback from her team. But then what was interesting, she jumped to the extrinsic systemic on her structured thinking, and she immediately asked me, so why is that diamond so low? And I explained to her that section really talks to what for are you doing everything in your life? And she sat back and said, exactly, what for am I doing anything? And that was just a very interesting comment for me, because she felt much aligning with the value of the diamond being so low. Even though her capacity is high in her bar, she could identify with her diamond being low because she had no purpose in her work. She found no meaning in it anymore, because she was getting all the results, but she missed the meaning in it. And then if we looked in the inner world on her page 5, she was actually shocked when she saw her intrinsic capacity in terms of her IENS in her inner world. And that took a moment for her to realize that in some ways she's not that well developed, even though I explained to her not in one way this bar says that, but she interpreted it in that way. And we looked at her diamonds having a very high focus on the systemic and extrinsic levels. I explained to her that this is the reason why she came to see me already 4 to 5 months before, because she's focusing, she's wanting to get more role clarity of who she is. She's asking the question of who am I and what am I for? So she could see and understand that, and that was interesting. And even if we look at the diff and the in scores, I could immediately there already see that her inner world, intrinsic world, is really not as well developed as her extrinsic world. And then if we looked at her page 6, problem solving, we could see it's almost a duplicate to her page 5. And for me, that just showed that her capacity is very good. She copes well in her life, but that she's really living from the outside in. And after we started coaching about these things, she found relief in understanding why she feel pressured in her work situation, not finding any meaning in it. And from her own words, is she recognized that she really feel empty in understanding who she is and what it is that she wants for herself, and that she spent so much time in her career and in her life and pursuing her career life that she felt that she missed out on who she is totally. And when we moved on in our conversation and our coaching, after just assessing the profiling, we sat back and I asked her, so having a look at all the data and the profiling, what is it that you want? And then she said an interesting thing. She said, I really want to be married. And that was the first time that she referred to that, being 30, being singled, having a very high fly career, but not having the ability or the time or the capacity to build relationships. Her end goal, that her intrinsic want, was wanting to be married, wanting to settle down in life, to have more meaning than just a career life. And we spent many coaching sessions after that to just talk about who she is, what she wants from herself, where she wants to be, to an extent that just a few weeks ago she phoned me to let me know she's moving back home. She's feeling that what she's learned in corporate life she can still apply there, but with a different intensity level. And what I've learned from this experience with this executive was that in many corporate companies we do not value the intrinsic development of our executives. And this was such a very good example for me, a person that was extrinsically and systemically very excellent in the workplace, very well developed, but because of the lack of development in her inner world, in her intrinsic capacity of who she is, in the end, she felt like leaving her work environment. Whereas if this could have been addressed earlier as part of the workplace, as part of conversations on a continual basis, the corporate life could have retained such a very excellent person without having this very huge imbalance between her outer world and her inner world. That was just a learning that I took from the value that intrinsic coaching has in the workplace. Christina, if I look at my sessions with this executive before this profiling, we could talk about intrinsic related issues, but her understanding of it wasn't as clear as when she saw this profile in front of me in a way of a measurement that she could, within her strong systemic understanding, put a value to it. And what I enjoyed about this is the world of all of us, but especially in that environment, their way of learning and expressing value. And the way that we could put value to her intrinsic development for me was powerful. But because before this, it could have been a soft issue, it could have been a non-measurable aspect of a person's life, whereas the profile really added value to a number, and not that one wants to compare, but really creating more balance than just assuming all is in balance just because I perform well in the extrinsic world.